I'm craving mochi pancakes and nowhere near me sells them, so how hard can it be to make them? I've been testing out different recipes and trying to find a way to make mochi pancakes but fluffier, since the rice flour does weigh it down. By using both rice flour and normal flour, you still get the chewiness of the mochi, but also a fluffier pancake. Thankfully, the batter is very simple to make. You just toss all of the ingredients into a bowl and stir. So I'm going to start off with 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1.5 cups of milk of my choice. I chose cow's milk, but any milk works here. It's not really that picky and won't really impact the recipe. Now for flavoring, I've got a teaspoon of vanilla extract and then a splash of ube flavoring. In this recipe, I do think it is really important to use the ube flavoring because even though I'm about to add a 4th cup of the ube jam, I find that the flavoring brings in more flavor than the jam, and the jam's kind of more just to give it a moist texture. It's similar to sweet potato pancakes where they just end up being a lot more moist and a little bit more dense. I've also found that you can omit the ube jam and still have great pancakes since all of the flavor does come from the ube flavoring. Now to enhance the flavor, we've also got a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and then all of the rising ingredients. So we've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and then also 1 cup of glutinous rice flour. And I've found that these ratios work the best in making a fluffy but also a mochi-y pancake. For the glutinous rice flour, it's really important to pick up the green bag, the one that is glutinous rice flour and not just normal rice flour, or else it will not have the right texture. You can also just find it at any Asian grocery store, but if you're struggling to find one, then you can also find it on Amazon. Lastly, I added 1/4 cup of sugar and then I gave everything a thorough mix, but I also am making sure not to overmix it because when you do overmix it, they start to become more of a rubbery pancake and lose the fluffiness from the flour and the baking powder. And with that, I've got my batter. Let's go ahead and test if it's any good by cooking some pancakes. Part of the experiment apparently was figuring out how to use a skillet. I turned it on but could not figure out what temperature it was pointing to, so I took a guess, let it warm up, but as it's doing that, I want to talk about the batter. So the batter kind of separates as it sits, so before each scoop, I am just going to give it a quick stir and then scoop. I decided to do 1/3 cup for each pancake, so I just grabbed a cup of that, put it onto the skillet, and let it cook. They cook like normal pancakes. Once the surface is bubbly and matte, they're ready to be flipped over. Depending on the temperature, it could be from 30 seconds to a minute per side. I went ahead and cooked all of the pancakes and this is what they are looking like. This is what I mean by the texture. They're definitely a lot more chewy and not as fluffy, but you can see they rose just a little bit. To assemble my pancakes, I like to add some toppings. I've got more of the ube jam as well as some nata de coco. Today, I just felt like spreading the ube jam straight onto my pancakes. However, you can also whip it with some heavy cream or even just whip the ube flavoring with heavy cream and it makes a phenomenal pancake topping. These toppings are totally optional. However, from the way that these pancakes are, I feel like they bring so much life into the dish because the pancakes are kind of like a base. They've got a slight flavor to them and obviously they bring in a good texture, but without the jam and the whipped cream and all of that, it's kind of just a slightly flavored pancake with a chewy texture. With these toppings, they just bring in more texture as well, and I feel like you can also go in and explore other flavors. So ube is always complemented with coconut, so adding maybe shredded coconut or even a whipped coconut cream would be phenomenal on these as well. I could keep going. I mean, all of these flavor combos are making my mouth water. I really wish I had some pancakes in front of me right now so I could test them all. So they're going to all go in my list of topping ideas, but you get the point. The toppings are totally optional, but they bring in a really good flavor and texture and just elevate the pancakes. After I added the ube jam, I am going in with my nata de coco. You can see someone decided to eat all of them. It may or may not have been me, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't because I was trying to save this jar for the video, but thankfully I had 3 measly cubes, so I went ahead and added them onto my pancakes. They kind of look like butter, but with that, my pancakes are all assembled, so let's taste test. I brought you up close and personal with my pancakes, but as you can see, I've got my knife and my fork, and I'm just gonna cut a little segment so we could see what it looks like on the inside. Clearly, I don't know my etiquette because I was using the wrong hands with my forks and knives, so excuse me for that, but these are what the pancakes are looking like. You can see they've got some air bubbles in there, but when you squish them, they definitely have some bounce and are a lot chewier than a normal pancake. As for the taste, they kind of taste like a normal pancake, but with that additional ube flavoring. You can also make these with any other type of flavoring. The ube, just to me, it just works so well with the mochi pancake. But with that, that is my mochi pancake recipe. I'm off to try these again with all of the toppings I suggested earlier.